welcome back to another episode of My W Romance. I want to thank all the people who support this podcast. And I'd like to introduce Militia. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Militia 213. I've been skating derby for like 10 years, both flat and bank. And I'm kind of excited to talk about it. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show. And I'm so glad that we could do it sooner than later.
Yeah.
So when did you fall head over skates for roller derby?
Probably in 2012. I was sitting in Wisconsin, like in the middle of winter, just sitting there. And I had moved there from Arizona, and I was like trying to figure something out to do, right? And I tried softball, and I tried bowling, and I tried all these things that I sucked like horribly bad at, right? Well, a girlfriend of mine started posting a bunch of stuff about El Paso roller derby back in 2012. And I was like, what? I was like, so I started researching it in my area, and it was over from there. I ended up finding like this really teeny tiny team of really badass chicks. And there was like 7 or 8 of us. I don't even know how we made it, like a year and a half of like competing, but we did. Like we pulled people like from other states to come compete with us. It was a really interesting, like bonding time, right? And we just did it for the love of the sport, the love of the camaraderie, love the sport. And I've been playing ever since.
That's awesome.
And I continue to skate outside of that as well because of it. But anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah. Oh, I love skating outdoors and in the bowls and trails.
Yeah. Yes. Same.
I actually bowled and played softball, but I was like 5 or 6, and my mom used to make me wake up on Saturday mornings to go bowling because I was in a bowling league. And I hated it because I wanted to watch cartoons. Back then, that's when cartoons were only Saturday mornings. Or
right.
There was no Cartoon Network back in my day.
Like, hey, no, I'm right there with you.
And softball I played in high school.
Dude, I played volleyball in high school, right? Really wanted to be good at that.
I never was.
No,
me neither. I'd make the team, but I really wouldn't get any PT.
Yeah, same. Like I got to go like on the little trips, you know what I mean? But I was like in a rotation. I was never like, a starter or anything. They were just like, you can participate,
Yeah, but you get like a minute because they have to play you.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, man, seriously, because people, I'm sure you had the same thing. People, oh my gosh, you play roller derby, you must be like so tough and this and that and that and this. And I was like, dude, honestly, if you suck at every other sport, you're gonna be amazing at roller derby.
Right? That was just my sport, dude. Like I just got on but I've always skated. That has been something that I've always done is skate. Like it's been like even as a child going to like the roller rink, my mom would drop us off and we'd go for both sessions because our moms would go out and party. They would pick us up after and we didn't care. Like we were just skating and it was, I guess, I don't know if you want to say safer back then, but like that was normal, you just drop your young kids.
Right. We didn't have a roller rink where I grew up. Grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona, but there was a hockey rink that you could go ice skating on. So I did a lot of more ice skating than I ever did roller skating until like the past 10 years. But the same, like, yeah, we would just go and we would skate and you'd be there all weekend, really. Friday night, Saturday.
I've never ice skated.
Oh, it's hard. It's freaking hard. I tried to do it like this past Christmas. I tried to go. I was like, I'm gonna go ice skating with all my friends I go skating with. Oh my God, it was really hard. It was really hard.
It looks very slippery, like very like slick.
so you're on like, we got 4 wheels, right? So our footprint is like so much like stable, right?
Oh,
And then you
yeah.
go to that little tiny like thing down the side, down the center of your foot, and it's like it makes your ankles work
Yeah.
crazy. You're like, oh my God, like a shin splints. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
it was
that's how
still fun, but it was hard. It was hard to do. I feel like I'm losing light. I might have to move at some point. I'm not sure.
you let me know when you're ready to adjust.
Okay.
How did your first derby date go? Whether it be your first bout or your first practice. You look
Okay,
amazing in
okay.
that light.
I
By
got
the
2.
way,
Yeah.
by
What'd
the
you
way,
say?
you look amazing in that light.
Oh, perfect. Let the sun hold there for a second. So I have 2 stories. I'll do both stories because they're both really good.
I
So
want to hear them.
okay, so I show up to my first practice, right? I'm already crazy intimidated, right? Already off the rip, just from like talking to these women, like, you know, like through, I think it was through email at that time, because it was like over, you know, like over 10 years ago now. But I can't remember exactly, maybe it's through MySpace. I'm not positive how it was through, but anyways, I'm already intimidated. So they're just like, yeah, just here, just strap on some of these skates and we'll just see where you're at, kind of thing. Here, borrow yours. Here's all my gear. This chick was so cool, right? She gives me all of her gear. And they had this guy who was like a coach, I guess. And he was like 6'5". Like he was this giant guy. And what we were trying to do was he was going to be stationary and we would like try to hit him, right? It was like a hitting exercise. Well, that's what I got to do my first like practice, okay, was a hitting exercise. So and I was just barely, like, I could skate, you know, I could do crossovers and stuff like that, but I mean as far as like just going in a circle, I couldn't do anything else other than that. But so I go to hit this guy. I'm watching how they're doing it.
Yeah.
And when I go to fall, I like because I'm only 5 feet tall. Like this guy was a giant, right? I fall and I immediately like grabbed his crotch. Like it was like right there, right? Like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. But I did it like 2 or 3 times. And so, and it was just like the way I fell, I just like grabbed. Yeah. So that was the first practice. And then the first bout, they had like, I didn't really know the rules. We played USARs at that time. So I wasn't really sure of the rules. I was just like glad to be there. You know, I almost like tried to call in sick the day of the bout because I was just so nervous, right?
Yeah.
My friends, my family, my husband's, everybody's there. Well, they throw me out there to jam, right? They're like, well, all you got to do is get through. Like, that's your only job. Like, you don't have to worry about anything else. Well, we were playing against these chicks from Chicago, and they were like these giant women. And there was this woman, and her name was the other white meat. Okay. And her number was like 350. She was just huge. And she was like on these skates, you know, it makes her even more giant.
Yeah.
And all my husband said was, well, shoot, you know, maybe you should write something on the bottom of your skates. So when you go flying in the air, people can read what's on the bottom of your skates. Because that's
what, dooming you. Just
that's
totally
what
dooming.
Oh yeah, I just got annihilated the first time. I'm surprised. I mean, I went back for more. But yeah, that's how my first bout went. It was crazy. It was fun though. I had a good time.
Yeah, because it's like every practice, every bout, you're already thinking about how you're gonna do it next time. Like, I'm gonna go lower. No, I'm gonna put my shoulder this way. No, I'm gonna, you know, and you're driving and you're thinking about how you're gonna get through the pack, and you're just
visualizing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And you're just like, why can't I do that on the track? Like, why, you know, and then you completely forget, and then you're just like pushing through, you're just trying to like get through. But yes, and so you're like, oh no, I bet you if I didn't stand up, or if I would have got my knee, or remember, I don't remember RollerCon. I've only gone one time to RollerCon, and it was probably 2011 or 2010. And I just remember taking a jammer course or whatever, like class. And if you could get, we're like supposed to be like cats. If your skate can fit through, the rest of your body can fit through. And so that was always my thing. Like, I just need to get my skate in there. If I can get my skate in there,
I just turn my body like that. That's what I think is great about roller derby. Like, you know, I've been doing it for 10 plus years now, right? And every season or every like practice, it's like the whole high about roller derby is just getting better. Right? For me, it's just like, dude, I can feel like the potential hasn't been capped. You know, I know that like I can always learn to do something better through practice, through drills, you know, through visualization, you know, just through experience. So that's what I kind of think is crazy about roller derby, because it's like that's the pull of it for me anyway. It's like you're always like, dude, I don't know. It drives. It's a big drive just to get better. For what reason? For no other reason, just to like know that you know you can do it. I don't know.
Yeah, because we don't get paid. You know, you're just like,
I know.
did that. Yeah, totally. No, I get it. And a lot of people watching get it as well, whether they do derby. Most I'm sure viewers are in derby, but even the ones who are not, I'm sure have their own passion that can completely understand. I think I talked about this in some early interviews. When I get like super inspired by rock climbers and like anybody who's athletic, like, because I can feel that like frustration and you know, I'm like, yeah,
I get inspired by them too. I'm like, dude, it takes so much dedication, determination. You know, it just takes so much. You just respect that.
It's scary. It's fun. You know, to be hanging out there just like derby. And so I hate repeating myself throughout episodes, but like it's very relevant that like a lot of people like thrill seekers, such as derby players, we crave being in the moment. So most thrill seekers, their addiction to what they do is being in the moment. You can't think about anything else when you're climbing that rock. You can't think of anything else when you're in that bout. You better not be thinking about something else. Right. You know, so it's that feeling, that being in the moment. When you go to derby practice, nothing else is going on except you. And so that's what it is. And now I race. I started derby when I was like in my 30s, 30 years old, I believe. And so about 35, 36, I was like, I don't know how long I can do that. I mean, I've still been doing it, but like I did start to race as well, like with triathlons and other things, like half marathons, then marathons. And now I want to do like a half Ironman, and, you know, because I'm still I have addictive personality, like most derby players. So, yeah, but yeah, when I'm racing, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner. I'm thinking like I have 26 miles to run right now. Like, you know, so I don't think I'll ever change whether I do derby or not. It's just something. And that's the tribe, right? The people that you meet, other derby players, you're like, I love you, but it's a reflection of us. Everybody we see in derby, whether we like everybody or not, is a reflection of us, because those are our people. They're just like, like, you know, they're just like us. And, you know, what we like about them is what we like about ourselves. And what we don't like about them is what we don't like about ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, so your alter ego, how did you come up with that?
I asked my friends and family, and, you know, so my name is Jalissa. Okay. So someone was like, you should be Jalissa Militia. And I said, I don't really, you know, I wasn't really feeling it. And I wanted to be like something dumb. Well, I really, really, really wanted to be, give me your lunch money, Manning. Okay. So my last name's Manning, right? So I just was picturing like, holding chicks up from their ankles and like shaking all their change out, like pay up stuck around my hand and stuff. They're like, no, that's too long. You can't have that name. And I'm like, all right. So I started asking around. And so a coworker of my husband, because he's like, hey, my wife's getting into roller derby. She needs a name, all these things. Well, somebody comes up with Jalissa Militia, right? And I'm like, okay, I wasn't feeling it. So I ended up talking to my dad and I told him all about it, right? He's like, well, give me a few days and I'll think about something. I never told him Jalissa Militia, never. Well, he came back with the same thing. And I was like, all right, meant to be. And then I just shortened it to Militia 213 a while back. It's like kind of a tongue twister before. I just wanted to simplify it. So
I remember again at RollerCon, there was a girl, her name was some rap guy's girlfriend.
Amazing.
And she did have a big badunkadunk. It was awesome. And so that was pretty long.
Right. I know. Looking back on it, I should have said no. That's who I want to be. Like I wanted to be that so bad, but and I keep thinking about changing my name, but I'm not. I mean, Militia's cool. I mean, I'm like my own little like army person. So I kind of like
I wanted to change my name so many times also. And all the names that I've thought of, like I've used them in other ways, like for my Cash App, you know what I mean? Or like whatever, something where I have to come up with an ID or whatever. But I also got my derby name, not from my dad, but because of my dad, because he rode Harleys.
Okay.
I actually wanted to be Jammin' Joplin, and I never thought I'd be a jammer. And that's all I've ever really been, is a jammer and a pivot. So I would have been fine. But I was like, I'll never be a jammer my first season or whatever. And so I thought I need to be aggressive. I need something that's going to be like a hitting, aggressive name that'll make me want to like hit people. So I was thinking Harley because my dad rode a Harley, and then Harley Hitter just kind of came into my head, like Harley Hitter, but not like hit her, but like hit her, like two words. Right. My name is Harley Hit Her, like almost like, ooh, Harley Hitter, you know what I mean? Like if I was like telling on myself kind of thing. And so as a jammer, when I was in my 30s and I had more energy, I'd always make it a point to like hit the other jammer if I could, just to be an ass.
Yeah.
I didn't
like
have
a little,
to.
Right.
But that was back then where we were a little less whiffed out. We were renegade.
Yeah.
Now I'm whiffed out. Now I'm
right?
Yeah, my first league and first like 6 or 7 seasons were Renegade.
Renegade.
Renegade, then Renegade bank track, then Renegade flat track, then bank track, then whipped it up. Now that I'm in my 40s, I need some rules. Like I need some.
Yeah. I tried to play a couple of Renegade bouts. I was lucky enough to get invited to play. It blew my mind a little bit because I originally started with USARs and my team was just really, kind of punk rock, it was like we didn't want to follow any rules anyway, I was like, dude, rules don't make it any fun, but then after like getting better at the sport, right, then I really started to kind of appreciate the rules because it develops you, into a better skater, a better player. I don't know, it just kind of makes you practice certain things certain ways. It just gets you better. So I just kind of was like, and I play bank track now. But I did play WIFTA for like 2 years, which was interesting. Like I kind of like bank track better. but I appreciate flat track a lot. I appreciate like their teamwork. I appreciate their footwork. I appreciate like their whole, what's the word? You know, the legitimacy of the sport through WIFTA. Like I appreciate that.
Yeah, a lot of strategy, working together. I think that also when I want it to be better and I'm working my little ass off to jam and I'm scoring points and then somebody decides to do some shit on the other side of the track to like stop the jam, you know, some like whatever, fake falling, fake fighting, whatever they're doing, because it was like renegade and it was kind of showy, showboaty at that time.
Right.
Trying to get meat in the seats, you know, people that like Derby was our first, just breaking out here in El Paso. I would get pissed off. Yes, I'm from El Paso. That's I was like,
you're El Paso Derby? What?
Yeah, I'm from El Paso Derby.
You're the one who started it. I'm actually out of roller derby currently right now. My husband was in a car accident on March 1st. So at that time, I just kind of like, well, and COVID was still tail end of COVID. They just barely opened back practices back up in like May. At the time that I exited, because we're, you know, like everybody else kind of limping along through COVID, you know, not being able to have bouts to generate any money, you know, just getting creative as far as like merch and fundraising and that kind of thing. But I bowed out because my husband, honestly, he didn't walk for like 4 months. So I was like, oh, I don't think I should play roller derby right this second, because you know, something dumb could happen, even though I've been like really lucky and not been crazy injured.
Yeah, no, I'm on an LOA myself until December because I have this. I'm doing an internship at this farm. I have other things that I want to do. I've given a lot of my time to Derby. I still am. This is for Derby. This is for the love of Derby. And in my book, I talk about how many times Derby's broke my heart, dude. Like, and you know, it's a beautiful thing that we're totally passionate about, but it'll fuck you up.
There's a lot of passionate people, a lot of chiefs.
Yeah, there's a lot of strong personality
people. Strong personality people. I mean,
and then so one of the things when we started Derby here, the girl who brought it here is on my podcast. She was the president. She's also a girl I went to high school with, but she started in Houston and then brought it here. And so we went to Phoenix and saw a flat track. We went to Austin and saw bank track. We learned from different skaters how to do this league, right? And one of the girls from Austin told us, her name is Mighty Aphrodite. I love you, Mighty, if you're watching this. Anyway, she says, I want you guys to remember this from the beginning. Not everybody is going to join roller derby for the same reasons you joined. Not everybody's going to love roller derby the way you love roller derby. You know, and it's so true because I remember being captain of my teams and these group texts back then without GroupMe, they were just all texts and stuff like that, or whatever apps they have now. But it would be like, what are we gonna wear? When are we gonna get our shirts? And I've always played on teams. Like I've always played sports, you know, through high school and whatnot. And I'd be like, who cares what we're wearing? You know, like, are we gonna play good? That's all I want to know. Like, are we winning? Like, just wear a fucking purple shirt. Like, nobody cares. We'll put masking tape on there. Like, you know, to me, it wasn't like a big deal. But some people go for the uniform. Some people go for the photo shoot. Some people go for, you know, everybody has their own reasons for joining Derby, just because they want to make friends. Which of course the community, there's so many things, different moving parts of roller derby, and everybody feels called to one or the other, you know, and more like in different rankings, right? Like I love the workout. I don't like to bout anymore. That's my thing right now is I don't want to get hit anymore, but I love the workouts and I like becoming a better skater. Why do I want to be a better skater if I don't want to scrimmage or bout? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. Hopefully I'll know by December when I have to come back. But I just so yeah, it's and that's why I do these interviews. And a lot of people agree, you know, and we all there's just something about Derby though. And as a matter of fact, there's another girl, Janita Moo. She's also somebody that I've interviewed. She wrote a paper about why people are so called to being in roller derby and the community and like the whole alter ego, the names, the everything. She's done like this whole like dissertation on it. It's beautiful. But yeah, it's a psychological thing.
Well, it's kind of interesting too. I mean, you know, I wasn't really in, I mean, I was in some sports, barely in any sports, really, I didn't really try at anything before, you know what I mean? I was just kind of like hit or miss. It was just like, okay, well, if it doesn't work out. But what roller derby has done for me is, you know, it's like helped, like it's brought my inner, like real, like inner strength out, you know, like I've been able to accomplish like so many things just by putting the work in, that it's just like opened up this, you know, idea that, hey, I actually can do anything that I want to do. Crazy. Just out of like pure, like if you really have the true desire to do it and figure it out, like you can figure it out. And I don't think I would have been able to do that without roller derby.
Mhm.
And without roller derby too, like I, you know, I would like roller skate. I'd play roller derby, but really did I roller skate? You know, and not until when COVID hit, when I was just like, you know, everything got shut down. The gym is shut down and derby shut down and everything's shut down. And I was already like in this really cool cycle of like derby, gym, work, you know, and I wanted to keep that like momentum going. So I just started skating outside. Found out that I freaking love it. Right now I skate twice a week, you know, 8 to 10 miles at a crack, just with girlfriends at night with like headlamps down the freaking canal here in Phoenix. And so without derby too, I would have never like, discovered that too. It's crazy. I love it. My phone's going off. Jesus. There we go. Yeah, so I appreciate that.
We talk about, or I believe that derby gives you your power back. So like you can have a shitty relationship, job, day, whatever it is. But when you go out there on the track and you do something, even if it's fall down and get back the fuck up, you take your power back. And so it does, it makes like, there's so many things in life that we feel like we can't fight back. But in derby, you can fight back. And that is so empowering. You know what I mean? And you can do it with girls that are gonna allow men, women, they, them, who will allow you to.
Right.
And you're there for them too. You're holding space for each other.
Right. And you're being like a good teammate to that person. Like you're being a person that they can depend on. I don't know. It really, I can't find the words today, but it really, you know, helps shape your character. Crazy. I'm sure that like all sports kind of do that in a way when you have to be like a team player, you know, I'm sure, but I don't know.
But they're not full contact.
On our own accord.
Sorry.
Oh, I said we go there on our own accord. Like we know we're going to get our asses kicked. You know, people's like, oh, I bet you kick a bunch of ass. I'm like, it's really like the other way around. But well, I'm like, I try. I give it a good no. I don't know. It's interesting. I like it.
Yeah, it's a full contact sport when like that most adults don't play unless they're professionals. But like adults play sports, adults go to the gym, adults do things, but not full contact sports. we are grown ass people that are going on skates and hitting each other, you know. It's different. It's beautiful.
Like there's no other sport really that you can get just your freaking just smashed and then you get up and then you give that person a high five because it was such a good hit. Like it was such a solid, clean hit. Like, holy shit, I didn't even see you coming. Nice.
Dude, you got me. And then the other person's like, sorry. You're like, no, it's good. That was
right. Yeah. Oh, I got to tell you this story too, because this is so funny. This is part of my first practice too, you know, or maybe first couple practices. I got smashed. Like this chick just didn't really care. She's like, ooh, a newbie to practice on type thing. You know, those people, they just like, oh, they annihilate you. Well, I got hit so hard and like my neck cracks like all the way down to like my, you know, my ass crack. Like I got adjusted, right? Mm-hmm. And it kind of threw me for a loop. And I was just like,
you're like, am I okay?
Right. I'm like, damn, you can really get hurt doing this, right? I woke up the next day. I never felt better. I was like, I think this is the sport for me. Like, I needed that adjustment really bad. I don't know. It's just.
This happened to me about 3 times where you're just like, you're loosey goosey. You don't see them coming and they just like straighten you out or like just feel everything pop. It's scary because you're just like, holy shit, I've never felt that before. But when you're okay, then you're like, oh, okay. Or I notice my hips start to hurt when I don't skate that much. Like they get tight. And so like skating really helps me to like move my body more so it doesn't get, so I have more pain when I don't work out than when I do.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I'm like, that should be the driving force to just get up and get going anyway.
Yeah. My body wants
you
it.
Stop moving.
No.
Get stiff as hell.
Has there ever been a time where you felt that you lost Militia? And if so, how did you find her again?
Absolutely. I really kind of lost myself when I went from playing flat track to going to bank track. And not only did I get, I felt good during fresh meet of bank track. Felt really good. Like I was like pumped. I couldn't wait because I moved from Wisconsin back here to Arizona. And my number one thing was I'm going to play for the Dames, like period. Because I'd already been playing for like 4 years. So I had a lot of like drive and excitement, right? So I go through fresh meet. I do really well. I just tested out of fresh meet 1, which was great. You know, went straight into just playing bank track roller derby. I ended up getting drafted to the best team in the league, right? With the best players. And this team has retained players for over 10 years, right? So it's just a team that's really well built. They've been skating together for a really long time. And I just happened to have my captain is probably one of the best skater in the league, right? So when I got put onto that team, I started to lose myself in the first season was okay. Second season, I really started to lose myself kind of because I just, I felt like I was way better, right, at flat track. And I was really getting discouraged because it didn't transfer over as quickly as I thought it should, or that I thought it was going to be easier. And then playing with the best of the best, I kind of just got put into like a second string role, right? And I just kind of started to get like really discouraged. I started letting everything else kind of get in the way, right? I started missing practices. I started being late to practices. I started drinking more alcohol, not really, focusing on what was making me feel good. And I just kind of let that consume me for probably, I would say 75% of second season with the brides at the Derby Dames. It was just kind of like I was really at a place where I was thinking about quitting, but I didn't want to quit because I knew it wasn't like really me wanting to quit. It was something else. I was being, I don't know. I was just distracted. And so I took a whole summer after that season, right? That I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to come back. And usually I would take my skates everywhere I went. While I'm going on vacation, I'm taking my skates, you know, I'm taking my skates everywhere, right? I just left my skates for a whole summer. I didn't touch them. I didn't think about them. I didn't really think about it. I started just kind of doing a little bit more self-care for myself. I changed my job. I started working out on a regular basis, right? I actually started going to the gym because I was like, you know, like didn't like the way I looked, anything. But once I went through that whole summer and I just focused on myself, really. I didn't really talk to my team. It's off season anyways. I didn't talk to my team. I didn't talk about roller derby. I didn't do any of that. I decided to go back to that first practice of that third season. And I just made a mental note. I'm like, you know what? If this is going to be, I'm not going to go out like that. I'm not just going to quit without really giving it everything that I had, because I'll be like regretting that. So by the beginning of that third season, a couple months in, I completely and totally stopped drinking alcohol whatsoever. I started focusing way on my self-care, and I started making roller derby a huge priority, like in my life, right? I was like, I'm going to be a better teammate. And I wanted to live up to my teammates' expectations, because they're the best of the best because they show up. You know, they're the best of the best because they walk the walk. They don't just talk the talk. They're not there for show. They're not there, you know, for, you know, the parties. They're there for each other. And they really showed me, I'm all emotional, but they really showed me what it meant to be a true teammate, right? And once I made that decision and I dedicated myself to making sure, hey, I'm at practice on time, every practice, I'm at scrimmage, every scrimmage, no excuses. You know, I'm in contact, I'm with my team, with my captains, and I just decided to be the person that they expected me to be. And I ended up doing it for myself. I ended up finding like the love for myself again and the love for the sport again. And that was 4 years ago. So yeah, I almost lost it completely.
I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that, you know. It is going from one league to another, different kinds of practices, different skill sets, and thinking you're good here, and then you come over here and it's not that you're not good, but there's still more to like learn. Like I had to learn Weftada, and I had to like give up that speed that I had on the bank track and just hit walls that, you know, like almost at a standstill, you know, and and I felt like I'm not good. I was good, but I'm not good. Also, when I first started, we used to have a little liquid courage, just a little liquid courage before we would go and skate and stuff. And then when I got sober, I had to go out there just as myself. You know, that was hard for me too. So yeah, sobriety, self-care, age. I don't think age has a lot to do with it. I know a lot of women that are older than me that are still out there, but I feel like I don't feel like I'm slowing down as much as I'm kind of moving away to do other things.
You're like shifting gears. You're not really slowing down, which is really, really, really cool, I think. Honestly, I do, because like you said, you give a lot for roller derby.
Yeah.
It's neat that you can continue to stay you know, in it, just doing something different.
Yeah, totally. I support it completely. I just feel like also it could be like it's medicine, but sometimes you get what you need from the medicine, and if you keep taking it, it's not good for you anymore. You know what I mean? And so I felt for a little while like it wasn't good for me anymore. I support it, and I think that it's really good medicine for people. I just think that it's done what it's supposed to do for me.
That's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Really, really good way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what were you looking for in Derby?
I was looking for something to get me off my freaking ass, you know, and I was really drawn towards like kind of the taboo underground feel that it had at the time. I don't really know. It was like I manifested it all. It was so weird because Goldie, right? She's posting on Facebook or whatever the hell it was, MySpace. I'm like, are you a Derby girl? And she's like, I'm playing for El Paso. I'm like, I wonder if there's anything in my area. Once I started talking to her and started talking about roller derby, all of a sudden roller derby was there. And I ended up finding my league, River Valley Roller Girls. It was actually 45-minute drive one way. Right. So that was kind of, and I dedicated myself to that. And I always joke around. I'm like, dude, I've only dedicated myself to 2 things in my life. It's my husband and roller derby. And that's it. Everything else is just kind of fall to the wayside. Yeah. So when I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I just had this crazy draw to it. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm sitting here in Phoenix. This is like in 2008, right? Or before, around there. And there's a place called Chewy's. There used to be a Chewy's around here.
Restaurant?
And yeah, fish, something. I don't know. It's the mesquite broiler thing. Well, these Derby girls were in there one time. And I used to go there all the time. They were all sitting in there and they were all tattooed and crazy, you know, all the originals who were just like so awesome. Just like I looked at those chicks and I was like, oh my God, I'll never be like, those chicks are the coolest people I've ever seen, you know? So I think maybe that was in the back of my mind too, that I had remembered, like they made an impression on me that carried through. It's just all that fate stuff. I mean, fate and manifestation, I don't know. It just all of a sudden was there. And then there I was, and then I'm in it twice a week. And it was fun. Like the first season was great. I drove 45 minutes. I had to be at practice at 8:00 at night, 8 to 10, 45 minutes from home in the storm, like Wisconsin weather. And we would practice and then we would go drink beers till like midnight or 1. It was the best. It was the best. My husband was so pissed. I would come home so late for years.
Why are you mad? I have friends now.
Like, I gotta wake up at 3. I'm like, oh my God. He was so mad. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a great time. So I don't know what I was really looking for, but whatever I found was great. It was crazy. I was like, okay, let's do it.
So we agree that Derby is a growing obsession. Like it just takes over, right? We just talked about that. Like you were, 45 minutes. You were gone for 4 or 5 plus hours. Yeah.
Hours. And I'm like, I need to
and it took another 2 to go and come back. But then there was drinking.
And there was, yes. Oh, he was so upset. But it was the greatest. It was super fun. Mm-hmm.
So was there ever a time that that Derby was out of balance?
It's kind of been off balance for a little bit. I do my best to like hold on to it because my husband doesn't really care for it anymore. because for, over 10 years, like, I'm like, oh, well, it's Derby this weekend, it's Derby next weekend. We have events over here. We're doing fundraising there. We're doing track painting here. I'm going to go help train. I mean, it's just like kind of all consuming. So it's really been kind of, and I think that it's probably not uncommon for this to go on. Whatever it may be, like whether it's just like the time spent away from that one person, or the fact that you grow into a different person through the sport.
There's
and
so many.
That doesn't always jive.
No.
So we've held it together. I've been with him for 17 years. So we've held it together. But I just kind of like, it's one thing that I don't compromise on. It's one thing that I haven't compromised on. Roller derby, roller skating, right? I've compromised on a lot of other things and continue. It's something that I struggle with, right? The constant, like, why do I always have to compromise? But roller derby is one thing that I haven't compromised on. And I'm just like, listen, I will stop playing roller derby when I'm ready. It's not going to be anybody else's decision. So the best I can do is, be upfront and communicate what's going on, so that my other half isn't in the dark and I'm just not flying by the seat of my pants, right? So it's kind of off balance anyway. But
I know I have not been I've been single for like the last 8 years that I've been in derby, or more, 10 years. So like, but I remember being in a relationship, and other skaters, our first 2 seasons where we were like head over heels for derby. I mean, the partners would get together and be like, derby, 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 I hate derby, and blah, blah, blah. But they were the ones out there with the signs saying, like, it's what attracts them to us, but then they see how much it entails, and then they're like, oh, you don't have time for me. And it's like, I have this much time.
I'm like, yes.
I have this much time. I can fit you in, but this is derby time, and then this is your time.
Right. Yeah, and then I did a bunch of stuff, fundraising stuff. Well, not really fundraising, I guess. We have a First Friday art walk out here.
Nice.
And so I ended up like getting a booth down there for the league, and just like having just informational booth basically for recruitment, and just to basically tell people, hey, Bank Track Roller Derby is actually in your town, So that took up a bunch of time too, but I don't regret it, because I did a lot of stuff and it was pretty, I don't know, it's pretty neat to be part of it. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay.
Small block.
How does derby make you feel?
Derby right now, at this very moment, makes me feel kind of crazy, because I have to try out again. Right? So there's always politics in roller derby. There's always like, I always think, okay, what do I think about roller derby? Is sometimes I think the sport is getting pushed out, right? Used to be about like these badass chicks with like really strong personalities, not going to take no for an answer, making shit happen, and just like drawn to that. I'm like, dude, I like it. I kind of like the tough. I also do like, though, that roller derby is all inclusive as well. I've always liked that. I've always liked that. But at the same time, it's like, well, we're all inclusive, but now we're like getting kind of soft, right? Like I just signed a waiver stating like something about if you get hit too hard, or if you hit somebody too hard, like, yeah, something. I wish I had more like what the actual like code of conduct thing is, but it's something about, you know, getting hit too hard or hitting somebody too hard. And it's just kind of like, okay. But roller derby, I don't know, still gets me excited too. I'm kind of bummed that I have to go back through fresh meat because I can't compete this year is the problem, because I'll be in training for 5 months. So I'm unable to compete this year, which is kind of frustrating, only because I'm missing out. That's the only reason, right? I'm just missing out on something. I don't know if that answers your question, but.
I mean, yeah, I remember that, like, when I was pregnant with my daughter, we were already into our second season and I had to miss a few bouts, and I was like, when can I skate after I had her? Like, how long do I have to wait? Yeah, I remember how that felt. Have you and roller derby ever broken up?
No. No, I feel like the forces have tried their damnedest at times. This is probably the most broken up I've ever been, because like I said, I stepped down because I wasn't sure what was going to go on with my husband. I mean, he couldn't, you know, I didn't know it was going to work. Finances, all these things, you know, played a part in me deciding to step down. But I think this is the biggest breakup, if there ever is one.
You're on a break.
I'm on a break. I never took a break before, but now I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And family does have to come first. I think in the beginning when I was like, I'm not missing practice, I'm not going to do this. And now it's like, yeah, my kids, you know, they need rides. They want to do their own thing. I take my son to the skate park every single day and I pick him up, and it's not close. It's not, there's one that's closer, but there's this bigger one that's a little bit further, and he's there every day. And I support that, you know, because I got to do what I wanted to do for as long as I could do it, you know?
Right.
So what have you found in derby?
I have found that I am more of a hustler than I ever thought. Right. I was like, holy cow, because I did things for roller derby, right? Like I was part of certain committees, right, that had commitments to, you know, there were certain things you had to do for the committee. Like they made us, they restructured the league a couple years ago and they created committees, right? And at first I was like, oh my God, I got to be a part of this committee. I got to go to these meetings every week. I was just like, oh, right. It ended up being the best thing ever because it forced me to be like, to do certain things. And it helped me see that I'm like a way more creative person than I ever thought I was. It helped me see that, like, holy shit, I have these really cool ideas that I've implemented and made happen. And I wouldn't have been able to have those opportunities without roller derby. I don't think. Like, it's to the point where I could put those things on a resume because of what I did for the league. And it's things that I never thought that I was even capable of doing creatively. You know, just going, you know, basically making it happen from the beginning to the end, all the different points and parts in it. And following through with it. I think that's what I learned through roller derby too. Like, just follow through, you know, don't half-ass it. I've half-assed a bunch of shit all through school, right? I was just doing whatever I could do just to get by, jobs, all those things. Roller derby's helped me with my work ethic and my other job too. I clean pools for a living, right? I'm a pool tech, and I clean pools and I service pools and I repair and maintenance and all these things. I work for myself now. I have my own business, and I don't think that without the opportunities that roller derby gave me, I don't know if I would have known that I could do that. And here I am. I now feel like I can do anything I want.
I think you can.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm like, oh, okay. I like it.
You deserve it.
Thank you. Hard work is pays off. I mean,
Who
that's
knew?
what they tell you. Who knew? They tell you that like when you come out of the womb, and you're like, yeah.
Sure.
And then what I've learned too is like, hey, if you do it right from the beginning, right, for the right reasons, and you stop trying to shortcut things, and you stop trying, to excel something without the time to be put in, you actually get there better and quicker than trying to find the shortcuts.
Yeah. There's a saying in Spanish, like, but in English, it pretty much means like if you do things lazy, you have to do them twice. So like when you throw the paper and then you would say that saying in Spanish, like, oh, the lazy person works twice as hard because they half-ass it, and then you have to go back and pick up the piece of paper and put it in there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What has been your worst derby moment?
Worst derby moments. There's lots of embarrassing moments. Like, I think finally this last season, right before COVID, I was like excited because I actually got some good pictures for the first time ever in my entire like derby career, because all the pictures are just like so bad. And you're like, oh yeah, I was playing that, but don't look at those pictures. Worst moment. I don't know. I mean, there was this one time where I was skating and I was jamming, and it was a really, really slick floor, right? Mm-hmm. And I had this stupid skirt on, and like, thank God I had like derby skins underneath. Yeah. Because like, okay, so I go down, right? I'm jamming, like we're totally losing, right? We're losing our asses, right? We're getting booed, all kinds of crazy stuff. Oh yeah, like we were booed from the get-go, but we didn't care. But anyway, so I'm skating, I come around the corner, right? I think I get past somebody, but I fall, and then that stupid skirt got all caught up in my goddamn wheels, right in front of everybody, and I'm sitting there stuck on the and so I just ended up taking the damn skirt off and just skating in the skins. I don't know if that's a bad moment, but I don't really know if there's been like really bad moments. I mean, there was this one time I did get taken out on the first corner flat track, and you know how they put the track down with the rope, and they taped down the rope, right? So it's like just kind of sticking up like this much. Well, I came down on that rope on my ass, like super, like I don't even know how it happened. It turned my entire butt cheek black, the entire thing. I tried to get up and skate that one out. It wasn't working. I was like, I had a giant black butt cheek for like ever. It was pretty awesome.
It burned. Yeah.
It burned, it burned, mad burn. We still got up and still got it going on, but yeah. I don't know if it's a bad moment. I'm not sure if I had a bad moment.
It's funny because I asked this question, but I don't think I've ever answered my own worst derby moment.
You have one?
My worst derby moment.
Oh no, I have one for you.
Go ahead.
Are you sure you want to hear this story? It's so
of course
funny.
I do. Okay. Especially if you start with that.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to put this on your podcast right now, because then everybody's going to be looking and they're going to be pausing and then like blowing up anyway. So it's end of the season. I'd just been skating with these really badass chicks that I like really looked up to, right? I really looked up to them. I was like, dude, these chicks are cool. I'm hanging out with these chicks. I don't know. I just thought, they were great. Anyway, this one end of the season, we're hanging out. She goes, dude, I've got to tell you something. And I was like, okay. And she's like, you have got to be like the sexiest, right? And I'm like, ooh, this chick thinks I'm sexy, right? She goes, girl with a mustache I've ever encountered. She's like, you just walk around like you don't care. And it's
You're like,
I was like, seriously? What are you talking about? She goes, oh, I bleach mine every time I come and see you guys. But I just remember like being all pumped up for 2 seconds there, and then just like mortified, right? So I'm like, anyway, I never did anything about the mustache, but I never knew it was there. It's just not really derby related, but it was funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're like, just can you imagine? You're like, this chick thinks I'm freaking sexy. Yeah. And then she comes out with that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna need some shots and some cigarettes pronto. We need to forget
That's
about this
funny.
moment.
Who says that?
That chick did, man. It was so cool too. I was like, oh my God. Anyway.
Just another derby girl would say that, or another derby person.
Yeah, it was funny.
I do have a worst derby moment,
I want to hear it.
but it's like super sad. Like,
Oh no, okay.
yeah, it was like right before I went into recovery. I wasn't able to skate when we first got our bank track. We would drink or whatever after games and things like that, but like we wouldn't drink like the day before about. And I did. And then in the next day I woke up and I was hungover. And so I had another beer to like ease my hangover. But I ended up getting drunk again, like, because I kept drinking. And so I had to not skate. And I felt like I let so many people down. It was horrible. And I think that was my worst derby moment. And was like, I guess, not my only rock bottom, but a rock bottom. But it was cool because it actually made me feel so shitty that I went into recovery.
Well, you know what? Now that you bring that up, honestly, okay, okay. So I skated for River Valley Roller Girls for a couple of years with USARS, and then, like I said, it was 45 minutes from my house. Well, right around the second year, well, right around the time I joined that derby, another derby league had opened up in my town, but they were a branch off of the one that I joined, and there was all this bad blood and all this kind of stuff going on, right?
Wow.
But they were WIFTA. I ended up after a year and a half driving 45 minutes, one way. I ended up going and skating for WIFTA in my own town, right? And my story is kind of similar too. I mean, I kind of blocked all this stuff out because I was like, it was real negative. So now that you asked that question, told me your story, now I freaking, I do have a worst derby moment. Like I kind of left my team, right? And they were upset because there was like bad blood between who I went to join. And my whole thing was like, well, I just want to be like a better skater, really. Anyway, well, I had been drinking too at one point. And I like got off work at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had a couple shots of tequila, right, with my husband. And then I went to practice, and then somebody smelled it on me, and they had just gotten like, you know how you had to like write WIFTA, like an essay, a 300-word essay to get accepted and all these kind of things, right? As a league, they had just been accepted as WIFTA sister something. And it was a Tuesday practice at 6 o'clock, and I had been drinking that day, and somebody smelled it on me and went to the board, and they suspended me for the entire season over practice. And they did it all over text message. They never freaking called me in to like have a discussion. Like, I never skated for those guys. Like, I tried to actually go back because I went back to River Valley 45 minutes away just to play, but that team it was hard. Yeah, it was hard. I never really connected with that team, and yeah, so they suspended me and made me an example for sure.
Yeah, especially like in the beginning when people are trying to go into WIFTA, it's really intense, and but
same story. Yeah, and I was like, it's Tuesday, it's a practice day. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, I had tequila. And I was like, oh, were you drinking? And I was like, I mean,
earlier.
Yeah, I live in Wisconsin. Weren't you drinking earlier? Jesus. Don't we drink before practice? No. Yeah, it was bad.
And that was just where I was at that time. You know what I mean? Like I just when that's what I did. I didn't have the kids. I'll go drink, and so it just I had to learn. I had to learn different things, but me letting my league down and feeling like a fuck up, and my kids, and I didn't have them at the time, but just like I never had to just like sit season opener in a fucking and just like sit there and be, people went to see me and I didn't skate, like,
my mom and my grandmother came.
And
they
like,
came around the belt, and I couldn't. I was like, yeah. So I got suspended. So we're gonna sit in the stands. Sorry.
Yeah. So and I still went to the after party. It was horrible. Like,
I'm drinking at the game. So bad.
Oh God.
That was years ago. Yeah. Then I eventually stopped drinking. Just like I just went into recovery too. Wasn't good. Got out of hand.
Yeah. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
So what was your best derby moment?
I've had, best derby moment. I mean, just little things like lining up on the line, right? Like the whistle blows and friggin' pumped because like we're winning, right? So that energy of just like that just drives you, like you're just like, yes, dude. So I would like run up on the line and just position in the box, and people in the crowd are just like, they would say stuff like, oh, you're like our favorite person to watch. Just bringing like the joy of just having a good time, and other people having a good time too because of it. And I had like so many rando fans, but a lot of my job within the league though was like PR, right? So I'd go out and talk about roller derby, and I would do like flyering, and I was a part of all that. So I really talked to a bunch of fans all the time, and I would get fans to come in, and then they would like recognize me. So I had like a lot of support that way. I don't know, I just always had a really good time with that. People enjoying watching me play. I don't know, had some good moments. I'm not really that great, you know what I mean? I'm not like I'm not like a huge hitter. I'm kind of a smaller person. I should jam more, but I'm not like ultra strong in like busting through like really great people. But I have a really great time. So
same. I used to like be a lot better. And I feel like now I just don't have that like fight in me where I'm like, I just don't have the fight in me where I'm like, I'm getting through, like, I don't care. And like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, no, that's not working. No, that's not working. Where I'm just, I'm not as strong. I'm not that strong either. I'm super short as well. I'm good. I'm fast. That's
right. Yeah. Once I get going, right on, like fast. I like to go fast for sure. What I do have enjoyed though, this past season was really starting to connect with my teammates in a better way, as far as like, hey, yeah, I am jamming for sure, but I also have people working for me. So I'm not doing this by myself. So I really started connecting with like, knowing what my teammates were doing and having the patience not to panic, right? Just to keep either those blockers who are blocking me moving forward, continuing, right? That's me doing my job is, hey, if I can't bust through, I'm at least going to freaking keep them moving so that my other teammates can slow down the pack and my offense can come in and, you know what I mean? Either bust them out of here or I can push them out of play. So really finding that balance of like patience versus what do you call it? You know,
Frustration.
well, patience versus, you know, when to go and when, you know, just knowing, right? And having that connection with your team where you already know you're trusting your teammate, right? You trust your teammate. You know that they're going to come and work for you. So the last season, I would say that's really started to come together for me. So, because I was also put into a different position too. Like I told you, I was like kind of second stringer there for a while. And then as, you know, people drop off and all kinds of things happen, you know, then I started like jamming more. So I jammed for like a good, which I used to jam on flat track all the time. And then I was just like a horrible jammer and bank track. I couldn't move my feet for some reason once I got stopped. But this last season before COVID, for sure, like I was starting to connect with my offensive person, like really understanding the offense and defensive part, and like really my team is like super strategic, right? That's why they're so good and they're really communicative, right? And so we always have a plan before going into the box, right? So, you know, having a plan, knowing what the hell they're talking about, depending on my teammates, knowing that they're going to work for me, it all came together kind of. I had a really great last season before COVID. I was like, well, I guess if this is the last, it's been great. Great. Couldn't ask for anything more.
And how are you coping with the pandemic and that?
Like I said, I just started roller skating outside. You know, I'm lucky, like super lucky that I live right next to the Phoenix Grand Canal, right? Like within, like I can gear up in my garage and I can go up 2 blocks and I can meet whoever wants to, you know, meet up to skate. We've been meeting for April 2020, we started meeting. We started off skating 4 nights a week. And we just started exploring this area, you know, in both directions, and just discovered that the canal is amazing. It's lit up, it's skatable, it's safe. You can go there any time of day, any time of night. It's free. We always take music. We always wear gear and all this stuff. So that's how I've been coping with it. I just discovered a love of roller skating outside. And since the pandemic, I've collected, I had my roller derby skates. That's it. Right. Well, now I have like 5 pairs. You know, I started like kind of park skating, kind of dabbling in that. That really takes a lot of practice. You know, you really have to be there days, you know, you almost have to dedicate it as a practice, like as you're going to do for derby, if you really want to get good at it, in my opinion. So skating the canal, at least I've been skating, and I've become a way better skater. Like I'm really kind of excited about going back to roller derby now, because I have like a little bit more, like it's not just skating in a circle, like I have more response. You know, I'm more responsive now. I'm more agile, a little more agile. I'm stronger. My ass got way big, honestly, from skating so many freaking miles. It's gigantic now, right? It's huge. I'm just like, I don't know. I was like, my pants don't fit anymore. Maybe I'm like chubbed out. And my husband's like, no, it's because you skate every day. I'm like, oh. So yeah, I've discovered like a love of roller skates and skating outside. I freaking think COVID's great. I'll be honest. It really slowed everything down, made me look at what I have, what do I have to work with what I got, right? Forced me outside way more. Even though I clean pools, I'm outside all the time. Kept me outside. I think it's kept me well during this time. I just refuse to do anything inside. So I've been able to stay social, and I've been able to stay active during this whole pandemic, which I'm really thankful for. And I skate at night with headlamp. It's like an adventure.
That's really cool.
It's awesome.
Do you have any words of encouragement for your fellow skaters and other watchers / listeners out in the world?
I think, I struggle, right? I struggle with a lot of stuff as far as like just being strong enough to say what's on my mind, right? And I think that as long as I can just continue to do what I love to do without, feeling like I have to compromise it in any way. You're probably gonna have to edit all this out because I really don't know what to say, but just stick to what you love, find a way to do it. If you're unable to do it in one way, in one aspect, see how you can incorporate it in a different aspect in your life. Continue to just continue to skate anywhere. It doesn't matter. Skate outside, skate inside, go jam skate, go trail skate, try something new. Find friends and find music. Find 420. You'd be good to go. It's not very good. I'm not sure what to say about all that because I struggle anyway, but I just honestly, I just try to just keep it up.
That's all we can do.
Regardless if I have a bad day or, if I just have a commitment, I have a group of friends I talk to, I say, hey, you guys want to, can you skate tonight? Or you want to skate tonight? And it's really good for everybody. Just to stay active. Stay active. That's what you should do. Stay active.
Well, I want to thank you, Militia, for being on the show and sharing your stories and your wisdom and your very fun and cool personality with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great to see you and talk to you. I've been following you. And I love your words of encouragement. Like, I don't know how you find what you post. It just always seems to connect with me, right? Especially your latest post, because I'm going through some shit, on a personal basis. So I'm kind of all over the place, but I really have found your words encouraging and uplifting, and they've touched me. So thank you.
Thank you. And if you'd like to see what Militia's talking about, I have a Facebook. It's Diana Lee Ortega. My IG is on the screen, and there will be more links at the bottom. Ali is the artist for this background. She also has a coloring book called Be Your Own Hero. It's a roller derby coloring book on Amazon. I will put her link on the bottom. I want to thank Olivia for promotions on these videos, and Mom McCartney, Ali Kelly Design, and everybody that's been on the show, who's on the show, and all my watchers and supporters. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Woo!